it's Jessica. Today I'm making a project as a guest designer in the month of October for Color Rush Studio, so I'm very excited to share that project with you. Now I've gone ahead out of my October Color Rush Studio kit and pulled a couple of things that I want to use to embellish my layout here. I had a bunch of 3x3 and 3x4 photos, so I went ahead and matted that on some black cardstock. And then I had a couple of the tags that I pulled out of the die cut pieces that were part of the kit. I think I'm going to layer them like so. And then I also pulled a few of the puffy stickers, the title, the little jack-o'-lantern with the cat on it, and then a 6x12 piece of the pattern paper from the kit. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is just share with you today how I like to go through and add just a couple of little touches to embellish my layouts. I could glue everything down as it is right now, but I like to just do a couple of little things to make it more fun to look at and just kind of add that little extra pop of wow. So I'm definitely going to pull in some of this ribbon here and put those in my tags. I did also have this spider thin cut die cut from my stash. That's going to be the only extra thing that I pull in addition to my spiced marmalade distress oxide. So for my piece of pattern paper, I did use my sewing machine to run around and put some machine stitching. I went around the paper 3 times and I purposely made that stitching kind of go crooked and wonky just to give it a fun, whimsical look. And then I'm going to take my edge distressing tool and just rough up the edges of this paper. I thought it would probably be best to do this part second, just in case some of that, dusty paper dust got into my sewing machine. And so now that I have this done, I'm just going to use my finger to kind of curl some of the edges and just again kind of add to that distressed look. I really love doing that to my papers. Okay, so I'm going to bring some things back in and just kind of see where I want to go next. Like I said, I already know for the most part where everything is going to go, but I'm just trying to figure out what I can do to make them a little bit, extra. So these tags are fun. They do already have some holes punched in them, but I think I might need to punch some bigger holes if I'm going to use the ribbon that came in my kit. But for right now, I'll just kind of lay out where I want it to go. I had thought about maybe edge distressing those tags too with my edge distressing tool, but I think I'm going to end up doing it with ink instead, just because I got a lot of dimension going on this layout and I wanted those tags to lay flat. So I'm going to use a foam tool and some black ink just to go around each of those 4 tags and add just a little bit of black ink to the sides of all of them. And then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue anything down just yet. That was one thing that I really I tried to be very careful about doing when I was putting this layout together, is to wait until the last possible moment to glue things, just so I can continue kind of pulling things out of the way and adding little touches and, doing whatever I wanted to do. So nothing is glued down. And here's a good example of that. So I can move all of that stuff and have that white base paper revealed so that I can do a little bit of ink blending. Now I'm using a blending brush and my spiced marmalade distress oxide ink, and I purposely started in a spot that I knew was going to be covered by my pattern paper. But even so, there is always that moment in ink blending where you think, whoa, that looks like a hot mess. And so I just bring my papers and my photos back in just to make sure that I'm putting color in the correct spot and also that it's going to look okay once I have everything layered back in. And I think it'll be fine. Like I said, when you take the things away, it's a little scary looking, but one thing that I love about Distress Oxide ink is if you just keep going over and over the same spot, it blends that color in so beautifully. So again, I know I'm going to have this part hidden under my pattern paper, so I kind of tap off the excess ink underneath that spot and then begin my circling off of the part that will show and then gradually move it over to the part that will show. And so this will be a little bit of orange that's going to show underneath my other 2 tags that are going to be at the bottom of my photo cluster. So I think that that's fine. Even though it looks a little scary right now, it's going to be okay. And so now that I'm looking at it, I think as much as I like that, I want to do a little something more to that area as well. I thought about splattering some water on it because that is a fun technique for Distress Oxide, just to get that splatter look because it will react with water. But instead, I think what I'm going to do is use a little bit of black shimmer paint. And I'm going to end up putting some of that around there. So before I do, I keep going back to the layout that I had designed earlier, just to kind of check that everything is good to go. So that way I know that I'm done working on this part, before gluing anything down. So I'm liking the way that looks. And I was trying to make sure, did I want that spider web to be over top of the tags, or did I want it to go underneath of the tags? And I think I want it to go over the top. Like I said, that die cut is one from my stash, but everything else here, stickers and die cuts and papers, they're all from that October kit from Color Rush Studios. So I like that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I do think that I'm going to end up moving my photos down just a little bit because I want more of those tags to show and the pumpkin to kind of sit with a little bit more of that turquoise up above it. So I know I want the tags to be connected together just like this though. So I'll go ahead and just kind of tack those together with a little bit of adhesive. But before I glue anything down to the page, I'm going to move those photos down. Okay, I do want to tie something through my tag holes. So I pulled out a hole punch and I'm just going to enlarge the holes that are already there. They're perfect size for a little bit of twine, but I did want to use this frazzles and ribbon that came in my kit, and it's a little bit thicker, so it was easy enough just to punch a hole. Couldn't find my scissors. I feel like they're always like, I just put them down somewhere. I can never find where they're going to be. Looked for my scissors. There they were. And I'm just going to cut a little bit off, and I'm going to use two of the different ribbons that are on here. So one in each tag. And I thought this was a really fun way to kind of tie off those tags so they didn't look quite so naked. And I love the frazzles and ribbons that come in the Color Rush Studio kits. Every month it comes with the paper and the embellishments. They send you some different ribbons and colors, and some of it's just kind of like fabric that's rolled together, and then some of it you can see has the little pom-pom trim to it. There's just something different every month, and I think that is such a unique thing to get with a scrapbooking kit that you don't really see very often. And I really enjoyed adding that kind of texture to my layouts with my Color Rush Studio kits. Okay, so I've gone ahead and tied the tags. This is what they look like. In the end, I'm going to trim down those top parts just a little bit. But now I can go ahead and kind of make sure that I'm happy. Here's where I'm like, I think it needs something more. So I'll bring in that black shimmer pen and just tap a few splatters over top of it. So this is something that I had in my stash from close to my heart, and it just, you can't see it on camera, but it does leave a lot of really fun sparkly goodness on the paper. So just some really thin, tiny dots that have that black glitter to them. Okay, so now I can go ahead and start kind of layering and gluing some things down. And I'll go ahead and get this part glued, finally ready to begin gluing stuff. And now at this point, it's just going to be about putting it down together on the page. Now in this kit, if you didn't catch it already, I did do an unboxing video last week. So I will link that in the description box down below so that you can see what else came in this kit. I really am barely even scratching the surface, honestly, in my layout today. Just a couple of these tags and foam stickers and just one piece of pattern paper, although there were a lot of really fun pieces of pattern paper in that kit. So I have more projects to make, so stay tuned. I will be coming out with a couple more videos here in October to share some more fun from that kit with you. So I'll go ahead and start gluing some of this down. And then I was trying to figure out how big my photo mat was so I can make sure that I centered it from side to side, and it was 9.5 inches wide. So I need to come in 1.25 inches from each side. So when I go to glue that down, I'll use a T-square ruler to make sure I get it on straight. And then, like I said, I just bumped it down a little bit to make sure I had a little bit more of those tags and the spider web showing. Now, these foam stickers they are stickers, but I just do get a little worried sometimes with any of like foam stickers or cardboard stickers. I don't know how long that adhesive would last over the course of time. So I always just add a little bit of liquid glue to the back of them. It's pretty quick and easy to do, and it just reassures me that those will stand the test of time in my scrapbooks. And then this was one of the titles that was on the foam sticker sheet, and it says "Boo to You," and I thought that was cute. So I'm going to stack it like that. I'll glue that one off camera and put it down. And then over here, I'm going to put my tags together. That one turquoise tag was really cute. It had an owl on it with a little sentiment, but I really just wanted that turquoise color so that way I could make that visual triangle. My son has that turquoise in his shirt, and so I was trying to bring that color in with my embellishments too. So that, you know, by the time I had the two in the tags and then his shirt for a few of them, that I was making some nice points, visual points around my page. I did need to add a little bit of foam tape to part of those tags before putting them down. My photo mat actually is bumped up. I put a whole bunch of scrap cardstock behind it just to kind of pop it up a little bit, so I needed those tags to lay nice and flush. So we went ahead and put the rest of the foam stickers down, did the same treatment with my frazzles and ribbons through the top of those tags. And you can see a little bit of those black sparkles in there that are around the orange ink blending. And so I'm nearly done, but I was looking at it and I thought, I think maybe I will do a little bit of doodling around the edge. Kind of paused for a minute, like, do I really want to? And I'm like, yeah, I think I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a black journaling pen just to draw some lines all the way around the white space here. I was trying to make it so that I had a free space for my hand to kind of run down the page. And, you know, I didn't do this kind of thing for many years because I was always worried that I can't draw a very straight line. It's not going to be straight. And then I realized that that's actually part of the fun of it. So these kind of doodles around the border of the page are a lot more fun when they're a little bit wonky and off kilter, kind of like the machine stitching that I did around the pattern paper. So I just sort of embraced the fact that it's not straight. I purposely try to make it not straight. So I've gone around the perimeter of my page. And then just to do a little something extra, I'm going to make 3 tiny little X's like stitch marks in a couple of different spots. And I'm going to try to make them diagonal to each other so that none of them will be too close. And then so since this one was up here, I'm going to come over to this part of the page and put 3 X's there. And then I'll put one last one at the top. I really kind of wanted to put it there, but it would have been exactly opposite the one on the bottom of the page. So I came back over to my other cluster here and added my final little touch to the top, and that is going to be it. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've gotten some good ideas of things that you can do just to dress up your scrapbook layouts a little bit. Some edge distressing, some stitching, some ink blending, some ink edge distressing, you know, using some ribbons and twine, I don't know, little splatters. Those are just some of my favorite things that I like to do just to add that little extra wow to my layouts. So thank you again to Color Rush Studio, and I will leave that unboxing video linked down below, and stay tuned for my next project. All right, guys, thanks. Happy crafting.